Hello there one and all, and thank you very much for tuning into episode 549 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube, the final live broadcast for today. So if you've been watching the lives, thank you very much for sticking around. First comment goes to Alex, who says, Hiram Green. Yes, I appreciate the enthusiasm. Thank you very much. And Mitra Kai says, hello again. Right, very, very quickly, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. You can find out how you can support my work by looking at the Ko-fi page in the video description below. You could also head over to my Substack, and if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. But regardless of all of that, you can, if you want to leave a comment, ask a question, please feel free to do so at any time. Right, what are we doing for this final video? We're going to try to do a showcase review of the current range of Hiram Green, which is an independent brand. I say the current range because some perfumes have been discontinued over the years, but this is his current range as of a few weeks ago, when he gave me this discovery set, Hiram himself, in Milan. It was my first time meeting him. He and I had corresponded a few times before, so it was really, really great to meet him. And he did say that he might be interested in doing an interview on this channel. So let's try and make that happen. Let's hope the stars align. I'm going to focus, you'll find out exactly what they are. I'll focus on these four mainly because I haven't reviewed them at all, whereas we'll sort of try to do maybe do a bit of a quick sniff of these ones, because these are ones that have been reviewed on Persolaise.com before. If you go to the website, don't forget you've got a perfume review index, and as of a few days ago, that index is now fully functioning. It's not complete yet. It hasn't been updated for reviews from February until now, but it's working in the sense that all of the links should now be functioning properly. That is something that has only taken me about 4 months to do, because every single link had to be changed. And fingers crossed, now they're all okay. So you should be able to go to the Persolaise.com perfume review section. You should be able to scroll down to H for Hiram Green, and the links that are there should work. Okay. An interview with Hiram would be amazing, says Multivits. I agree. I think we need to make it happen. I'll get in touch with him as soon as I can. Alex says, your index is my Bible when I decide to buy a new perfume. Well, that's good to know. Thank you very much. But Dahlia says, it's not a real blog if all the links actually work. Oh, trust me, not all the links work, but hopefully now the links in the perfume review section work. I mean, for one thing, a lot of the links now link to things that are gone, which is a bit of a shame. Thank you for the work, says Menchie Extract. You're very, very welcome. When I finally got to the end, I breathed such a huge sigh of relief. Hiram Green is an independent brand. Hiram, I think I'm right in saying, is Canadian, but he's lived in Europe for many, many, many years now. I think he spent some time in the UK, and it was based in the Netherlands. And I say was because I seem to remember seeing just a couple of days ago on social media him saying that he might be leaving his current location in Holland, but I don't know if that means he's leaving Holland. Anyway, he's definitely in this part of the world. I'm curious to try the new Hiram Green, says Eric, especially Philtre. I bought Vivacious after hearing it was discontinued. So beautiful. Now, Philtre, I think I did review. I have reviewed on this channel. Oh yeah, there Mitrikai says, I think he's leaving the Netherlands. Yeah, I don't know where he's going. Maybe he's coming back to the UK. Claire says, I want to smell Philtre. Well done, Mr. P, on updating the links. Thank you very much. Oh, he said bye-bye Netherlands, did he, Mitrika? Okay. He calls himself an all-natural perfume maker, but he did also say when I asked him that he uses natural isolates, and I think that may be one of the reasons why his perfumes do not smell anything like the kind of generic, slightly thick, unctuous soup that a lot of all-natural perfumes seem to descend to. So not only do they maintain a kind of, or achieve a sort of luminosity, a freshness, but they also all smell quite different from each other, which is interesting. But we need to get going, because if I'm going to sort of go in depth into 4 and touch on 4 more. You know, we've got our work cut out for us. So let us start. I need to have my little notebook here as well, because I did make some very, very, very brief notes. Let's start with the most recent one of the ones that I haven't tried, which is, I believe, Tryst. Tryst came out in 2024. Where can I pop this? Shall I pop this on here? We have pre-sprayed blotters as well. Let me pop those on there. Let me find the pre-sprayed Tryst so that I don't have to go hunting for it afterwards. Where is pre-sprayed Tryst? There we are. And Tryst is... By the way, I'm guessing a lot of you have smelt some of these, so please feel free to jump in. Oh no, I made a mistake. The 4 that I haven't done are the ones on the right, aren't they? So here's Tryst. Is that Tryst? No, that's Hyde. We'll get there in the end, trust me. Okay, we've got Tryst. They're definitely something else, says Alex. They are very, very emotion-inducing, very, very evocative. Right. Tryst. From the word go, I mean, I've only just sprayed this, right? Tryst is just such a heavenly, really, really rich orange blossom. You smell something like this, and then you look at some mainstream perfumes. And actually, no, not just mainstream. Plenty of independent perfumes that say, oh, you know, orange blossom note, this, that, and the other. And you think, no, 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 no. Smell this and tell me that you've got an orange blossom note. It's got that indolic quality of the orange blossom, but also that innocence, the brightness, the freshness, the slightly citrusy, but also that kind of metallic petit grain quality. It's kind of honeyed, really, really rich, just so gorgeously complex. I have no idea. I've saved this little leaflet comes in the discovery set, but I've saved it for this broadcast because I don't know whether Hiram creates stories to go with his perfumes or not. So we're about to find out. This is the blurb for Tryst. He says, "Remember the drive we took down to the orange grove that spring? How the winding roads carved ribbons into the hillside and we knew the words to every song on the radio. How the air smelt sweet like honey, like possibility, and the sun warmed our skin. How we found a quiet spot to park and kissed under the orange blossoms, and the whole day felt like a secret that was just ours. Later, on the way home, you found a flower in the folds of your coat. How their smell lingered, crisp and bright and golden." Crisp and bright and golden is just perfect. Whoever's written that, whoever wrote that actually smelt the perfume, which is great. Oh, how romantic, says Rita. Yes, absolutely, and it is a romantic perfume. The notes are orange zest, green buds, neroli, orange flower, and honeyed resins, with which I wholeheartedly and entirely agree. So pre-sprayed Tryst. So this was sprayed... What time is it now? It's about 6 in the UK. So this was sprayed maybe about 3 and a bit hours ago. Let's see. It's not as potent as the opening, but then I guess their day's over, right? And they had their moment of passion, and now they're enjoying the sort of afterglow of the journey back. But the orange blossom is still intact. It's really, really, really nicely done. Now, that's what I call a proper press blurb, says Alex. I know, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Sounds lovely, says Maudlin, and I will definitely try to locate it here in Denmark. I would have thought you should be able to get the discovery set sent to you in Denmark. I can't imagine that being a problem. I definitely want to test it, says Mirish. Orange and Neroli are my most loved ones. Sorry, my most loved notes. More Violette says, I've spent the last few minutes digging around and I'm missing Philtre. Oh, but I have Shangri-La and Slowdive. Moonbloom has also been on my to-sample list, but I might need to add Tryst. Rita says, I've just bought an orange blossom perfume. Sounds like I should have bought this one. Which one did you buy? Let me just have another sniff. And of course, I also can't help thinking of North African sweets when I smell orange blossom. I love, love, love those sort of Moroccan pastries. Really, really nicely done. So that's Tryst. which is the most recent one from the brand. I don't know if we're going to get a 2025 release. Going back in chronological order from the ones that I have not yet reviewed, in 2022, Hiram gave us Arcadia, which is a great name for a perfume. Hiram ships to Europe, says Oriana. Smell Stories in Belgium ships to Europe also. Thank you very much. Good to know. So Arcadia. And I'm definitely going to read, excuse me, the little blurb. Now, from memory, is Arcadia the one that starts off with this really, really hyper-realistic, beautifully done lavender note? Yes, it is. So now, maybe we're in the south of France, but it's high summer, the sun is shining, you've got this endless lavender field in front of you, maybe also a suggestion of the kind of dryness of chamomile coming in on the breeze, but it's more than just lavender in many ways. I mean, you know, I almost felt like saying it's the scent that Chanel Jersey should have been, but why should Chanel Jersey have been? It should be Hiram Green Arcadia, right? Ricardo says, honest question, do naturals wear differently than other fragrances with more synthetic materials? Curious about whether they wear differently. Well, see, I don't have a huge amount of time for this argument that perfumes smell completely different according to who's wearing them. I think they might smell different, but I think they smell slightly different or subtly different, not completely different. But the more complex the composition, the more likely it is that you will get variations on how it smells from one person to the next. And if you are putting a high proportion of natural ingredients into your perfume, then I guess that is going to mean that they will wear differently from person to person. Now, Hiram does use natural isolates as well, as we've said, which tend to be single molecules, so he can kind of calibrate the perfume more carefully in that sense. But yeah, you would expect to get slightly more variation if the perfume is all natural. Perfume Lounge has the Discovery set also, says Oriana, and Pavo says, Arcadia is my favourite lavender, love it. But there's more than just lavender here. It's almost sort of starting to head into kind of like beautifully done 80s masculine territory. Anyway, Arcadia. In the idyllic, unspoiled wilderness of Arcadia, babbling brooks meander through mountains covered in dense forests, and the air is filled with the sound of humming insects and twittering birds. Arcadia belongs to the classic olfactive group known as fougères, or fern-like perfumes. Imagine the lush undergrowth that covers the forest floor. In areas where the sun manages to break through the canopy, fragrant flowers bask in the sunlight, and their sweet scent intertwines with the fresh green smell of the foliage. Aromatic French lavender and Italian bergamot dominate the top of Arcadia before jasmine and rose provide floral shading. Tonka bean, aged patchouli, right, I think that's what I'm getting a lot of. And it's a really, really nice patchouli. Aged patchouli and New Caledonian sandalwood add depth to the composition. So very quickly, the notes: bergamot, lavender, jasmine, rose, spices, resins, tonka bean, aged patchouli, and the New Caledonian sandalwood. It's really, really nicely done. Rita says, where can we get this Discovery set in the UK? Pass. I'm afraid I don't know. But maybe if you look on the Hiram Green website and see if they ship to the UK. I mean, you know, we're really, really hard done by when it comes to these sorts of things in the UK now. Jeremy, hello, says, Moonbloom is another favourite of mine. Such an amazing and captivating tuberose. Moonbloom, a lot of people adore. I know that, I think for a lot of people it's their favourite Hiram Green. Is Shangri-La also in the set? Can you please try it? Says Alex. Shangri-La is in here, don't worry. Angeline says, hello Mr. P, I'm late. Doesn't matter, you're very welcome. Just came from listening to Jean-Claude Eleanor at the Paris Perfume Week. Oh wow, has he been giving a talk? And he's such a delight. I'm definitely going to watch your Creed video. What was he talking about, Angeline? Please tell us, what was he talking about? Okay. And pre-sprayed Arcadia. Where is pre-sprayed Arcadia? Quick. Let's find it. No, it's going to be the last one I pick up, isn't it? It's got to be the last one. Of course it's going to be the last one I pick up. Right, here we go. Right. Very, very quiet. See, I suppose maybe what he's doing is, rather than kind of loading it up with materials that are heavy hitting, but then would then make, because you can't use synthetic masks. I think I'm right in saying, if you're going to be an all natural perfumer, you can't use synthetic masks. But rather than making the perfumes all smell quite similar to each other in the base, he's decided to go for distinctiveness and originality rather than longevity, and that is fine. Longevity is overrated sometimes. But the patchouli sandalwood interplay is very, very nicely done. Okay, and again, from the 4 that I have yet to review, going back to 2018. Oh, this is when I did the pre-sprayed blotter for this one, there was no way I could avoid smelling it. This from 2018 is Hyde, as in Hyde, as in he of Dr. Jekyll fame. I don't know if Mr. Hyde is a kind of personality that you sort of want to aspire to or emulate in perfume, but then I did think to myself that the great thing about perfumery is that you can appropriate slightly more dubious identities in a very, very, very safe way. And I guess if you want to express your inner Mr. Hyde without actually going on a violent killing spree, then Hiram Green lets you do it. So this is Hyde from 2018, really, really wickedly coloured juice, and this is this is a full-on birch tar. I think the only other perfume that I can think of that features birch tar in such a kind of bold, ballsy way is Andy Towers' Lone Star Memories, which, as you know, is one of my favourite perfumes of all time. Alex says Hyde is the emotional, animalic and untamed side of us all. Well, yeah, I suppose we all have a Hyde in us, except me, of course, because I'm perfect, as you know. Scott says, hello, just received a sample yesterday of Hiram Green's Arbole to try out this week, which used to be called Arbole, didn't it? I think now it's just called Arbole. Mirish says, yes, longevity is so overrated. It makes me so sick smelling people in the streets smelling like fragrance bombs. Oh, so you and I were on the same street together, were we? Johnny Toblerone says, I've always wondered if Hyde smells anything like Anubis, a smoky leather bomb. Interesting. Anubis doesn't go quite so heavy with the birch tar, though, does it? Anyway, this one is... It is a lot of birch tar, which makes it quite sort of earthy, peaty, animalic, dark. But it's interesting that it doesn't come across as overly angry. I mean, maybe this is a tamed Mr. Hyde, or maybe this is a Mr. Hyde that is managing to live in harmony with Dr. Jekyll somehow. Oh, Angeline is doing her journalism bit for us, reporting on Monsieur Elena. Very loose topic for Jean-Claude Elena. Demain le parfum. Oh, okay. But really about bits and bobs about his experience, modus operandi, perspective on certain takes. Really interesting. He is a good speaker. He is really, really very good. Right, let's see what Hiram wrote about Hyde. Where are we? Hyde, a sensual and addictively mesmerizing leather-themed fragrance. Hyde opens with a strong burst of bright lemon and bergamot. These cheerful notes then clash with the dry and sharp scent of birch tar, reminiscent of burnt wood. I mean, seriously, these are fantastic descriptions because they really just do it better than I possibly could. And cassis, an opulent flower with intense green and spicy nuances. Okay, yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. I don't think I would have picked it out myself. Both form a vibrant leather note with powerful depth and intense appeal. This beating heart is embraced by a warm and elegant base of smoky labdanum and malt vanilla. Yeah, very malted, a good word in this context, melting into earthy oak moss. Seductive and challenging, Hyde is an ode to all those adventure-seeking souls, a unisex fragrance perfect for day and night. Notes, very quickly, lemon, bergamot, birch tar, cassis, labdanum, vanilla, and oak moss. And where is our pre-sprayed Mr. Hyde? And let me look for the one with the most evilest colour. No. Every single time it's the last one I pick. No, except this time. Where is the pre-sprayed Hyde? Did I not do a pre-sprayed Hyde? Please tell me I did a pre-sprayed Hyde. Yes, I did. Okay. Pre-sprayed Hyde. Really, really rich, smooth. I mean, I almost kind of feel like maybe there's a sort of vetiver-ish type note in there, but maybe it's the moss. I have to get this discovery set, says Alex. Yeah, I think you do. I think you do. And this is mouth-watering, says Alex. Well, was this one mouth-watering or were the other ones? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, and the last one of the ones that we haven't talked about at all on, either the channel or the blog is Slowdive from 2017. So here we go. Quickly label it. This is the type of work that shines on skin, says Oriana. You are 100% correct. Again, going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about it being, heavy on the naturals. So Slowdive from 2017. Here we go. My favorite, says Oriana. Okay. This is like tobacco and hay and honey, and it's almost to me like a sort of fairy tale forest where Hansel and Gretel are approaching the gingerbread house, not because it smells of gingerbread, but there's something quite sort of mythical and golden and glowing about it, and maybe it has just a sense of a touch of evil to it, more than something threatening, more than in Hyde. Johnny says, nearly bought a Slowdive but fell in love with Bee from Zoologist. Interesting. Okay, what does Hiram say about Slowdive? A warm, tobacco-themed fragrance that captures the mood of those languid afternoons when the sweetness of the Indian summer air is almost palpable. The heady scent of summer flowers and the humming of bees surround you as you flee the high summer sun. The fragrance opens with fresh and flowery top notes of neroli and orange flower before tobacco blossom, honey and beeswax take over. The heart, rich and deep with hints of dried fruit and creamy tuberose, is delicately anchored by a base of warm resins that gives Slowdive its soft and exotic touch. And is the hay note in Slowdive similar to the one in Shangri, says Scott? I think Shangri from Lutan's is an interesting comparison with this one, actually. But I just like the fact that there's something a bit wicked about this one. Let's do the pre-sprayed Slowdive. Yeah, maybe a bit more linear than the others, but that. And the kind of honey has died down, and maybe it's a bit more about the tuberose. What's the base meant to be? Dried fruits and resins. Okay, fine, bit generic. Every description has been so evocative so far, says Ricardo, and so helpful. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Okay, so those are the four we hadn't talked about. So as a refresher, very, very quickly, let's do the others. We have got, I won't necessarily read the blurbs. I'm sure the blurbs are on the website. This is Arbole, which I swear used to be called Arbole. And this one, I believe, is from... Arbole is from 2016, so nearly 10 years old now. Is this... I can't remember now, but is this one of the ones that I think is maybe the least interesting? Martin says, Father Persolaise, acknowledge me, please. Father Persolaise, why? What have you done? You're acknowledged. Speaking of Serge Lutens, says Carl Anderson, will you try and smell the new Sheldrake fragrances for Spotorno? I have ordered and paid for, like a good boy, my discovery set, so it should be on the way soon. Very, very expensive discovery set. 4 tiny little vials, I think for like 50 odd euros or something. But I have heard so much about this that I thought, okay, it has to be done. So they're on their way. Fingers crossed. Yeah, this is basically a really, really, really nicely done, fuzzy, comfortable, vanilla patchouli type scent. The patchouli makes me think of the sort of hairy-chested fougere-like quality of YSL Rive Gauche Pour Homme, which of course takes us to Brut. There is something Brut-like about it. I won't read the blurb, but let's just very quickly look at the notes. Patchouli, cedar, sandalwood, vanilla, and tonka bean, which is kind of brutish, isn't it? Oh no, I find Arbole so beautiful. It is beautiful, but I think maybe just a bit less interesting is what I think, Eric. Shimmering green patchouli with a powdery base. And don't forget to give a thumbs up, says Shahika. Yes, absolutely. Do the thumbs up, folks, as long as you like the video. So that's Arbole. Then we have the famous Moonbloom from 2013. For so many people that I know, this is their favourite Hiram Green. Is Sheldrake free now, says Tool. No, and I don't know if he is, but he's been making perfumes for Lutins for ages, right? So I think there must be some kind of an understanding with Chanel whereby he's able to work for other brands. So this is Moonbloom. I mean, this really is good stuff. Such a beautiful, perfectly judged tuberose with other kind of white florals doing their indolic, curvaceous, sensuous white floral thing. It's just heaven. It's just heaven. And Moonbloom is just such a great name for it. I have to read the blurb. I'm curious about the blurb, so please indulge me. Moonbloom takes its inspiration from tuberose, a flower with a unique, soft and creamy aroma that is often referred to as the mistress of the night, not only because it releases its scent during the night, but also because of its intense aphrodisiac properties. Moonbloom is an exploration of the brief life of the tuberose. The fresh green smell of the stem and leaves hardly prepare you for a narcotically opulent heart full of sweet and spicy white flowers. As the fragrance dries down, the scent ripens into a thick, moist, and almost tropical base of creamy coconut and warm resins. Yes, he did say moist. Now, I don't think we did the pre-sprayed Arbole, so mind you smelling anything after Moonbloom. So this is pre-sprayed Arbole. Yeah, again, that kind of patchouli, brute quality is there, and pre-sprayed Moonbloom is here. Yeah, that tuberose, although I wouldn't have said coconutty particularly. If anything, it's a bit woody. And final two. Next up, we have Philtre, which I have reviewed. I know as well. Philtre is from 2024. I think what I did is I must have ordered a sample of that one myself, maybe from Lucky Scent. But let's have a look at it. This was the one that is a rare thing nowadays. A very well done clovey, spicy carnation perfume. Jeremy says, smelling it right now, green, spicy, narcotic, carnal, elegant, so many good qualities. I absolutely agree with you. More Violette says, it reminds me of a vintage version of Bee. Moist is a good word, says Dahlia. It is a very, very useful word. It is indeed a useful word, as are many words in this glorious language of ours. I really like Philtre because it's tough to do. It's tough to do carnation nowadays because of all sorts of restrictions. Philtre is meant to be flower stems, clove, rose, carnation, jasmine resins, vanilla, and black pepper, and pre-sprayed Philtre. I mean, I'd love to have. I think probably all of these, certainly 6 of these, I would love to have in my collection. They're not the cheapest perfumes in the world, but, any day, seriously, I would rather have any of those than, like, the subject of 2 videos ago. Yeah, and again, quieter in the base. He doesn't really try to push things to stick around and last forever. Although I wore Hyde the other day, and that seemed to go on and on and on. And last but certainly not least, we have Shangri-La. Shangri-La from 2022. Now, Shangri-La, I think, at least in terms of its opening, More Violette says, Oh, I tried Philtre with my friend last week and she recoiled in horror. She actually said she wouldn't let me in her house if I wore Philtre. I think maybe you need to make some life decisions about priorities and friends. And okay, maybe they were like responding to something very, very particular. Eric says, I find them expensive, but I think in the same stratum as Les Indemodables. I prefer Hiram Green, to be honest. Well, yeah, I mean, they're not cheap, but, you know, there are other brands that will remain nameless in this video that charge similar amounts for stuff that is of much, 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 much inferior quality. Shangri-La, I think, is Hiram's take on opium. To me, the sort of slightly kind of peachy, spicy, maybe even gently carnation-y quality, lots and lots of resins in the base, makes me think of opium. I guess the difference is that there's a sort of irisy type note, but it's just so elegant. There is something effortlessly elegant about this one. And very quickly, the notes are lemon, orange, bergamot, peach, jasmine, rose, orris, cinnamon, warm spices, vetiver, and oak moss. It says here that it was inspired and named after the fictional land described in James Hilton's 1933 novel Lost Horizon. Hilton describes Shangri-La as an earthly paradise, isolated from the rest of the world, where people are almost immortal. And pre-sprayed Shangri-La, just for the sake of being complete. Ooh, something, that vetiver note is coming through, and something quite vegetal, but honestly, well worth checking out. If you're looking for a discovery set to purchase, and if they ship to wherever it is that you live, do very, very seriously consider getting this one. Okay, we are done. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for walking through this discovery set, says Ricardo. I learned so much, and now I'm keen to seek these out. I like the idea of naturals that dry down naturally, so to speak. Yes. Power Connection says, have to get this set. I have to try this, says City Slacker. Eric says, oh, please mention that he discontinues with the same stride as Andy Tower. If you like something, then get it. Does he? Maybe if stuff doesn't sell, then he just can't justify making it. Thank you very much, says Alex. No, thank you, all of you. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all the comments and the questions. I will try to go back and go over them at some point. Stay tuned to social media for info about new videos coming your way. But until then, be good, and I will see you soon. Bye now.